Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition. Sheila Waweru is the acting CEO of the Affordable Housing Board and joins us tonight to discuss that program billed as a flagship project for the Kenya Kwanza administration. Sheila, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, John, for having me. Very fine. How are you?
I'm well.
Okay.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
I want us to begin with, when I mentioned to somebody today that I was going to host the CEO Affordable Housing Board, they asked me, that exists? So the question is, what is the Affordable Housing Board and what is your mandate?
Okay.
Yes.
So the Affordable Housing Board is a state corporation under the Ministry of Lands, specifically the State Department for Housing and Urban Development, which came to be in March of last year, established under the Affordable Housing Act of 2024. And this board is mandated with overseeing the development and maintenance of affordable housing, institutional housing, and associated social and physical infra. So basically, the Affordable Housing Board is what is in charge of the affordable housing program, which is transiting from the State Department for Housing and Urban Development. Yes.
Tell us, when you talk about affordable housing, because I mean that's been largely the question, that Kenyans have really misunderstood the concept of affordable housing. When you talk about affordable housing and a unit that is affordable, what do we say? What do we mean?
Okay. Remember, provision of housing is a mandate of the national government under Article 43 of the Constitution. So when you talk about an affordable house, this is a house that, one, is decent, is of good quality, and is a house that you can afford within 30% of your income. So that is what we are looking forward to and what we're implementing to achieve, so that every single Kenyan is able to access one decent house in the country, good living conditions, and one that they can be able to afford within 30% of the income.
Initially, when it was being touted by the Kenya Kwanza administration, much of it looked like it would be a social program. The idea targeting tulisema mama mboga, watu wa boda, and things like that.
Yes.
But with the deductions happening in pay slips, who is eligible for the affordable housing project?
Initially, that was the direction, John. But over time, because when we talk about providing housing as a mandate of the government to all Kenyans, then you cannot focus on one segment of the population. So with this program, then we are able to open up home ownership at affordable rates for all Kenyans. We do have different categories. We do have social housing for persons who are earning below 20,000 Kenya shillings per month.
That is social housing?
That is social housing.
Okay.
We have affordable housing. We call it affordable, though all the categories are affordable. So affordable is for persons earning between 20,000 Kenya shillings and 149,000 Kenya shillings. And those earning above 149,000, that's affordable middle class. So the program and the units are open to every single Kenyan. So it's not specifically to social housing, but of course, with the realization that people who are earning lower may not have chances or opportunities to own homes, because when you're earning higher, you're able to access mortgages and so on. So our key target is those persons who are within the social category and also affordable, but the program is open to all Kenyans. Yes.
Tell us about these types of units. How do I know what am I eligible for? Over and above what is being deducted from my salary. How do I know what I am eligible for?
You know this by what you're earning. Okay, so
that is the only parameter.
So if you're earning, let's say 20,000 Kenyan shillings, then your housing should not be more than 30% of your income. That is one. But when it comes to the issue of how to access these houses, and I'll be able to delve more into that, there are other factors that are looked into. Because you could be earning, let's say, 100,000. 30% is 30,000 Kenya shillings. But when you look at your obligations, as much as you're earning 30,000, you actually don't even have that 30,000. So there are various aspects and assessments that will be done, and we are working closely with certain financial institutions to do the same. Just to be able to assess, verify your income, and also assess your ability to pay. So that, yes, we know your 30% is this amount, but what obligations do you have, what loans maybe you're paying and so on. So how much do you have available for you to be able to access this home. Yes.
There have been concerns, raised by Kenyans regarding the possibility of cheating the system, and we'll talk about it. But first, let's talk about getting into the system. I have seen through the band regarding, the deductions I have on my salary, or for a person really who is a beneficiary of social housing. But how do they enlist?
So for you to be able to access a house, you need to go to our portal. It's called the Boma Yangu portal. And the Boma Yangu portal is where all the action happens. So from you registering, so maybe I'd take us through the process. So you get to Boma Yangu, you log in through www.bomayangu.go.ke, or you use USSD code *832#. Boma Yangu is housed on eCitizen, where all government services are housed. So when you access Boma, activate your account with only 200 Kenya shillings. And then from there, you're able to feed in certain information that will be requested, like your income, maybe your living situation, maybe you're living with disabilities and so on. What are your obligations? Information that will enable us to assess you, working closely with the financial institutions that we've talked about, that we are integrating onto this system. Then once you've been assessed, then it's easy for you to know, yes, my income is 100,000, but out of the 100,000, I can get a house probably of 2 million. And these same institutions that pre-qualify you or assess verify your income and assess your ability to pay for this house, then they're able to tell you, we can be able also to advance you an affordable home loan. I'll be able to talk about the interest rates for that. So once they do that and then probably I can access a house for 2 million. On the same portal, you're able to see all projects that we are undertaking. So with that, knowing that, yes, I'll be able to access a house for 2 million, then you're able to select. You can say, yes, I want a house in Bahati project, maybe in Nakuru, or you want a project in Embu and so on. So once you do that, you select your preferred unit, then if my house is 2 million, then I need to raise a 10% deposit, which is 200,000 Kenya shillings. And through the same Boma Yangu, there are various channels for you to make that payment. You can save over time. You can also be able to put up a down payment at a go. And then with that, then you're able to, on the same platform, to apply for a home. There is an application form that is online. You provide the information that is required. And then through the same system, we have a very fair and transparent process, fully automated, whereby the system is able to determine who then gets a house. Because the instances where there is oversubscription for certain units, so you need to know then, who do I give? Is it John? Is it Sheila? If they've all applied for the same typology of a house. So through that system, then it's able to give us results and tell us these are the people who are successful for this lot of allocation. And then with that decision, then the board is able to communicate to both successful and those who are not successful within 14 days. And then upon us communicating, we also, if you're successful, we do give you an offer letter with the various terms, because you'll have indicated either are you paying for the house on cash basis, are you accessing an affordable home financing from the institution, and if not, if those two options are not available for you, then maybe you'd be coming on board on tenant purchase terms. I'd talked about affordable home financing. So for the social category, home financing is at 3%, and this is within the Affordable Housing Act 2024. 3% fixed income interest rate over a period of 30 years. For affordable housing, it's at 6%, and for affordable middle class is at 9%, all fixed over 30 years.
That is interest rate?
That's interest rate.
Okay.
So while the market may be offering financing at probably 18%, 20%, for us it's 3, 6, and 9% over a period of 30 years. There's
a question I want to ask, probably before we even get to allocation of houses. And it is a system we talked about, registration, fill in your income, for example. How do you get rid of cheats? For example, if I chose to say my salary is within this band, it is probably way higher than that.
One, we are in the process of integration one with financial institutions, with the mobile network operators, and also with the KRA, that help us also to verify, because we don't want unnecessary competition within the various categories. We don't want someone who can afford a house of maybe they're earning 100,000 Kenya shillings per month, competing for houses for persons who are within the social category, you know. So we have ways through those integrations, and these are all institutions that are certified as data processors and handlers through the Data Protection Act. So it's very important for Kenyans to know that your data is safe, and we share it for purposes of allocation only, for income verification. So with that, then we are able to confirm, I have declared this is my interest. I mean, this is my income. And actually that is actually your income. Eventually, by being dishonest, then the system kicks you out, because by the time it's verified and we realize that the income that you declared is not the actual income, then at some point you'll be kicked out of the system. So it's very important to provide the actual income that you have.
If you kick them out of the system, does it mean you will refund probably the deposit or part of the deposit that they had paid?
You have an opportunity to come back and apply with, you know, starting afresh with factual information. Honest information. Yeah. You do have that opportunity to do that. So, yes, you're kicked out at that particular moment, but not out of the opportunity to own a home. Yes.
Okay. Tell us about this allocation, for example, because there are also fears expressed regarding that one ID. Because obviously through eCitizen I will register through my ID card. Question is, will you find examples of where probably one ID has been allocated more than one affordable housing unit?
No. Actually, the eligibility criteria within our Act is you must be a Kenyan of 18 years, therefore you must have an ID, you must have a KRA PIN, and you must have a valid TCC or tax compliance certificate. And through this integration, the minute you're able to key in your ID, we're able also to pull out the rest of the information. And there is no point. So the minute you are allocated a unit, that ID is sort of blacklisted, such that there is no other time that it will be able to come in and get another unit. So it's one ID, one unit. Yes.
Once you raise the deposit, and probably, let's say the house is complete, what happens? Because you've picked, probably, you had referenced the house of 2 million.
Maybe 2 million.
And then a person has raised 200,000.
Yes.
Do you wait for the unit to complete? Or if the unit is complete, what happens?
Okay. So one, it's important for Kenyans to know that we have put out right now 4,888 units that are nearing completion. They'll be completed latest by June of this year.
Across the country?
Across the country.
Okay.
And it's not that those are the only units we have. We have a total of about 140,000 units which are continuing. And for you to apply for allocation of a unit, you don't have to wait until the unit is complete, because maybe by that time, everyone has applied for the same. It's better if you apply earlier. We are open to request or applications for allocation continuously. So once the unit is, if you had applied earlier, you had been allocated. Once the unit is complete, then you're able to get the offer letter. If you accept it on the terms that are also provided, you get your key. And also once you're done with your payments, right now we are in the process of just ensuring all our projects are currently built on national government land, so either national government or county government land. And the main reason behind this is to ensure that land is zero rated, and that's how we're able to maintain the costs of these houses at very affordable rates. So once we are done with these projects, and even right now as they're continuing, we are sorting the issue around land ownership, registration, titling, and so on, because once the projects are complete, the projects transfer to the board. You know, the board doesn't undertake direct implementation. It works through implementing agencies. So once they're done with the construction, the projects move to the board. and the board is able to process sectional titles for each and every unit. So once your unit is complete, you get your keys, you've completed the payments that are due, then you are given a sectional title for your unit.
I want us to take a small breath and then come back.
Okay.
And probably we'll talk about, I have raised the deposit. And I've not gotten the desired house, for example. I wanted in Kitengela, but then all the units have been taken up in Kitengela. What happens to me? And we'll be picking up the conversation from there.
Okay.
Let's take a small breather. Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition. I'm still here with Sheila Waweru, the acting CEO, Affordable Housing Board. So that very question of, I wanted a house in Kitengela. That was my desired place.
Yes.
I even raised the deposit. But then again, one way or another, I missed out on the allocation in Kitengela. So what happens to me?
So if you miss out the allocation in Kitengela, your preferred place, your money is not lost. Your deposit is not lost. You have the opportunity to go back and select another unit. And actually, preference is given for those on the waiting list. So you have a better chance. Just bearing in mind, yes, you've gone through the pain of the first allocation, which, yes, you are successful in terms of your allocation went through, just that the houses were not available. Supply or the demand superseded what is available. So then you are able to go back through Boma Yangu and select an alternative unit. Alternatively, you can be able to request for a refund, which is given within 90 days. And a third option is that we have affordable rural loans. So if you're not allocated a home and probably you have somewhere a piece of land that you would wish to develop, within the costing or the amount of 4 million, you still can apply to the board for an affordable rural loan to develop your own house. Yes, so all those options are available.
They're available.
Yes, and
So,
maybe before we proceed, when you are allocated a house, you also have the opportunity to change a unit. In case maybe you took a 3-bedroom and your financial situation has changed and you want to downgrade, you can still apply to the board for maybe a 2-bedroom or for a studio. So we've tried to ensure that we're looking at all scenarios and ensuring that we provide all opportunities for a Kenyan to have a home. Yes.
The person who pays this deposit, for example, the 10%, even in social housing, pays the 10%, occupies the house. And for example, you were saying, for example, in Mkuru, 3,900 shillings per month to get to the 640,000 price. Question is, down the line, this person is unable to raise this rent or defaults. What do you do with that?
Okay, default is a different scenario. So our Act has certain provisions that look into issues of default. So if it's after several months, then we might get to eviction. But before then, you can approach the board and change a request for a change of unit to a more suitable unit for your current financial situation. So that is it. Remember, the houses are not free, and for good reason, because we want to be able to raise finances and continue building so that almost every Kenyan over some number of years has an affordable housing loan. I mean, an affordable housing unit. So we do have that provision, and you can also approach the board. Even banks, sometimes you go and tell them, my situation has changed. Give me a holiday for 3 months, some grace period. So you can still approach the board, and on case-to-case basis, we'll be able to assess and see how to assist. Or alternatively, you can change for a lower value unit. All right. Yes.
I'm sure we've touched base regarding the affordable housing, but clearly it's a thing you need to come back and explain more really regarding the frequently asked questions by Kenyans regarding the affordable housing project. You're open to that?
Very, very. We actually want to take all the opportunities that come to us to be able to share more information regarding the program. We have realized, of course, there is some information gap around the country with Kenyans. So I would like to request, even you might be out there, you might be having a church, you might be an association that has quite a number of many members. You might be a bank with so many members of staff. and you would want us to be able to share more information, we are open to that. You can reach us on through support@bomayangu.go.ke, or you can be able to call us through our numbers 0700 832 832 or on 0739 832 832, and you can be able to organize for that. Yes.
Thank you very much, Sheila,
Thank
for joining
you.
us tonight. And of course, we hope to have you then.
Thank you for having me, John.
Thank you very much.
Asante.
Sheila Waweru is the acting CEO of Affordable Housing, joining us tonight for this conversation. Remember, the Affordable Housing is a flagship project for the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Yes.
And we'll take a breather, of course, when we come back with more news lined up for you. Don't go too far.